Hello, blessings. Welcome back to Chef Brittany's World. I'm sorry, y'all. I just got out the shower, this, that. But I wanted to do this video. I've been wanting to do this video for a long time. I want to talk about maternity. And for those who may go somewhere else in your minds when I say that, specifically maternity, the state of being a mother, motherhood. Um, We're going to touch a lot of different subjects. This is a disclaimer. Go get your blunt. Do what you got to do. Because I'm going to get real deep into it. It might get a little emotional. I want to talk about my experiences. I want to talk about my son, who's also right here on my arm, by the way. That's the same picture. Um, Shouts out to Shay, who drew that picture for me. But yeah, I just want to talk about all of it, all over the board, especially with what's going on right now with this bullshit ass Supreme Court ruling, this bullshit that just came about. So yeah, I definitely want to touch on some things. So let's get into it.
Down the place to be. Forget your cares, it's normal, definitely. Down the place to be. Forget your cares, it's normal, definitely.
Okay, so first off, I just want to say that my YouTube channel is gonna be for a lot more than just food, even though I throw down. Um, but I want to start having some deep discussions on here, just like how I did my stage discussion. This particular discussion may get a little more deeper just because I have personal experiences dealing with it. But I just would like everybody to know, thank you who has been subscribing. Hit that like, comment, subscribe buttons below. That every now and again I'm gonna come at you guys with some real deep videos. I have a lot of layers and I have a lot more to offer than just food, honestly. So getting into maternity. First off, I just want to say that, and I got my sage burning, yes, because we want good vibes up in here. But first off, I just want to say that I I don't agree with this Supreme Court shit that's going on. No, I do not support or stand behind killing babies or any. No, that's not at all what I'm about. I've lost a child, so no, I'm not in support of just go out here killing babies. Like if you somebody, male or female, which is something we're gonna touch on, who is just out here getting abortion after abortion after abortion or something like that. um I mean, that's a different type of case. But I just don't agree with this shit that's going on. I told y'all I'm gonna be real thorough in this video. I'm not cutting no corners. So I just don't support it because I don't feel like y'all got the right, you don't have the right to tell anybody what they can do. And it's almost like we're backtracking because abortions, I'm not even gonna just say abortions. Abortions, miscarriages, uh, fetal demise, stillbirths, which is something I experienced. Um, People just killing kids, has been going around for eons. Okay, this abortion thing has been happening way back when. So I feel like there's a little bit more behind this Supreme Court thing. Um, I feel like it's almost like they're trying to go back in time, kind of like back to when women had no rights. Remember, we had to fight for women's rights. Um, so there's a lot of iffiness going on. But as far as telling a woman that if she gets an abortion going forward, that she's facing 10 years in prison, that just doesn't, I don't know, that just doesn't sit right with my spirit. And my YouTube channel is open. Anyone who wants to comment, because you're gonna have those ignorants out there who say stupid ass shit or just want to go back and forth with people or whatever the case may be. I'm talking about real deal when you're in a situation as a woman, because this is all this ruling is talking to. They're only talking to women. Meanwhile, it takes two. I did four. Sorry. It's I was holding up both hands. Anyway, it takes two to get pregnant. But this ruling is only talking to women. That's one. That you're gonna give her 10 years if she chooses, like, she doesn't want to have that child for whatever reason it may be. I feel like that's a form of taking away women's rights, and I really feel like that's what they're trying to go towards. That's why this Supreme Court ruling is so bullshit. And ignorant people out there, please try not to let these people get to you. These people out here, they're crazy. They say anything out the side of their mouth. That's like, oh, you just want to kill babies, or oh, you a hoe, or oh, well, keep your legs closed, or little ignorant shit like that. Ignore that shit. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. I feel like every single woman in this world, not these men out here who are with all due respect, because I have no problem with whatever anyone wants to do with their life. But we just talking about real women like you and me who carry babies, have periods, have miscarriages, have stillbirths, get raped, get trapped, because men trap women too. We gonna talk about it. Get molested. I just feel like if you're gonna touch on that, talk about everything. I just think it's fucked up for you to take that choice away from her, from a woman. I don't agree with it. That's my opinion. I'm standing by it. I don't give a fuck who feel what. At any point in time, everybody's entitled to their own opinions. If you're allowed to get in my comments, and talk about how it is you feel. But this is me saying how I feel, and I don't agree with that shit. And I feel like it's fucked up, and I feel like it's a way of trying to go against women's rights. Who the fuck are you to tell me? And on top of that, are you making the world any better for whatever future fetuses may come? No. I mean, you have people out here who's killing kids. You have people out here who, God forbid, they, they carry a child or whatever the case may be, could die. For whatever reason, medical, whatever. I just feel like a woman should have that choice. If she gets pregnant, and it's like, once a woman becomes pregnant, they are only talking to her. Like, it completely negates whoever got her pregnant. I feel like if you're gonna try to touch this subject, you need to include these men too, because like I said, we can't get pregnant by ourselves. We need semen. And I'm not talking about that go and you're still a sperm bank. You still need a man to make a baby, or these tubal things, all these technology shit that they do. I'm talking about natural human beings. A man and a woman make a baby. And a lot of times these men don't want these babies. There's a lot of women that are in situations where the man that has gotten you pregnant, whoever he may be, is like, you ain't having that baby. Your parents may be like, you pregnant, you're not having that baby. I'm just saying that, and once again, I'm not like, oh, kill babies. Absolutely not. Okay? And I'm going to save that for later. But I just think it's fucked up. And I also feel like it's so fucking disrespectful for the government, judicial system, whatever the fuck they call, whoever, they corrupt. But it's so fucked up for you to be like, she's going to get a 10-year prison sentence. Well, what does the male that got her pregnant get? there? Because if you're going to hold somebody accountable, it should be both parties. She didn't get pregnant by herself. Niggas, more accountability needs to be taken. So, with that being said, to speak about my personal experiences, I've been on kind of both sides of the coin. So, my first time ever being pregnant, I wanted my child. I carried my child the whole way for 9 months, and my baby died. Don't know how, don't know why. And this is under the same care, the same government appointed care, the healthcare system and all of that. I feel like we need to look a lot into the healthcare system as well if we really gonna start touching on these subjects as far as no abortions or abortion clinic. There's healthcare facilities, hospitals, the ones that deliver our children. And I didn't find out until it happened to me. But that's why I'm making this video, to make other people aware that there's a lot of babies that just die. Like, there's so many stillbirths. Nationwide that happened with no explanation at all. How come nobody's talking about that? How come nobody's talking about the fact that there's a higher stillbirth rate with Black babies than there is with any other race? I'm just saying, if we're going to talk about it, let's talk about it. How come there's no, and I'm not saying I want to see anybody go to prison or nothing like that, but how come there's no 10-year sentence for these men out here who are getting these women pregnant? And then, because that's been happening for eons. Deadbeat. That's been happening for eons. It's all on her. She gonna go to jail for 10 years if she don't have that baby. If a woman is raped, if she's raped and she chooses not to have that child that came from her being violated, you gonna send her to prison for 10 years. What we should be talking about, this is all I'm saying as far as the Supreme Court, what we should be talking about and passing new laws about is the shit that's really going on. You passing laws on women's rights and abortion rulings and shit like that. Meanwhile, we got niggas out here. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying not to say that. I told y'all I was going to be gutted though. But we got people out here who's shooting up elementary schools, who's smuggling immigrants into the country in a big ass 18-wheeler, and almost 100 something of 50 something bodies is dead in there. We still got cops out here just killing. We clearly need gun control. Ain't nobody passing no laws immediately for gun control, but you got the nerve to just come out the wazoo making a ruling about abortions? And maybe hey, like I said, get in my comments. Maybe I'm tripping. But in my mind, I'm like, don't we got more important shit to talk about than this? They passed that rule, like, this is what we talk about? Meanwhile, on the same news network, CNN and all that, we still have stories of, I'm sorry, I hate to make everything about race, but it is. Let's just face facts. We still got Black men getting killed out here by the police like it's nothing. But y'all want to make it seem like y'all care so much about life? They don't care about them damn babies. They don't care about that. Especially when we already know that y'all have for years been trying to depopulate. We ain't stupid. Well, I ain't. You better educate yourself, especially, and I don't care, especially if you're Black. If you got a tiny little bit of ounce of black in you, you're black. But just in general, I just feel like that. I just feel like that was some bullshit. It's some bullshit. This government is bullshit. Why we ain't passing no laws on inflation? Where's the rulings for that? Because these gas prices is ridiculous. That shit is ridiculous. But y'all passing out abortion rulings. That's my opinion. And there's many different reasons. And only women can speak about that. There's many different reasons that I feel like a woman should have the choice to make that decision. So, getting into my personal experiences, like I said, my first child was my son. And after that, that was in 2014. And me and his father, we still don't know. We have absolutely no answer at all as to what happened to our child. I was looking at me. I'm questioning myself. I'm like, did I do something wrong? But then again, I carried him for 9 months. So I'm like, if I did something wrong, he wouldn't have made it that far. You get what I'm saying? Like, it was just really weird. I don't understand how at 9 months pregnant with a healthy baby, no complications through the whole pregnancy. And I'm speaking about this in detail because I want anybody out there who is watching this video, whether you're the mother or the father or the grandmother or the friend, or you know someone that went through that. I really want to talk about this shit and start bringing these stories out because I honestly feel like they doing something to our babies. That's what I truthfully feel. Because ain't no way in the fuck you can tell me my first time being pregnant and I'm carrying a beautiful baby boy all the way through. I delivered him. He had already passed. I delivered him on his due date. See, but I didn't know my son was gone. Beautiful chocolate baby boy with a head full of black silk hair, curly black silk hair. And through the whole pregnancy, no complications. I barely had morning sickness with my son. I worked through the whole thing. His heart was always beating like a champ. I didn't have no high blood pressure. I wasn't high risk. I didn't get heartburn. I had swollen feet. I probably got a tiny bit of heartburn at the end or whatever. But, I had a smooth pregnancy, very smooth. Every time we went to the doctor, every week. As you know, when you get closer, when you go to the doctor every week, no problems, none. The doctor who was looking after me, she was a woman, a black woman. When it came time to, like, right around those days where I was like almost due. So I'm gonna be real detailed about this because it's still weird how it happened, and I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not coming for anyone because I don't have proof. But I just know how my spirit feels, and the story of how my son came about has always just been weird to me. So like I was saying, when you're pregnant, for my women out there, when you get to the end, and I think I was already like maybe like 33 weeks, 34 weeks. So I'm big as hell and I'm pregnant. And I'm like, yo, can we induce? Like, because my son was already 7 pounds. So he was a big baby. He was growing. He wasn't premature. Like I said, there were no complications. He was big. When we would look at him in the sonogram, we'd be like, he's a big baby. He was big. He was healthy. So, my doctor who had looked after me through my whole pregnancy was a black woman. And she was looking after me, and I made it very clear to her. I chose her as my doctor, and I told her, I want you to deliver my baby. For some reason, around that end part where I was supposed to be going to the doctor every week, my water hadn't broke. I hadn't started dilating yet. She decides to go on vacation. Okay. So I didn't find out that she went on vacation until I went to the doctor that next week, and there was some white lady there. This is black lady doctor all the way through the pregnancy, week right before I lose my son. Some white lady, never seen her before. She's never worked on me. And at this point in time, she was saying that she needs to check my cervix. Now, I'm telling this story because this is the only possible thing that I could think of that was a little iffy that could have caused. Because for the life of me, I can't understand what happened to my child. I'm never gonna stop. I'm a mom. Even though I'm not raising kids currently, or I still want children, but I'm still a mom. I still had a child. Like, I still want to know what the hell happened to my kid. Like, so she was saying, we got to check your cervix, see if you've started dilating. And once again, when I speak about the shit that us women have to go through, we have to get pap smears. We get all kind of tools in us and shit. They spread us open. We have periods. We cramp. We have miscarriages. We pass blood clots. We have to breastfeed. Our titties get tender. Sorry to be explicit, but I'm just saying, the woman body, us as individuals, we go through a lot. We do. We go through a lot. So she was saying she has to check my cervix. I had never I don't recall getting a pap smear or anything like that throughout my whole pregnancy, except for the first visit. So all through, it's just checking me. But anytime that my usual doctor would go to check me, it was never a problem. Like, it wasn't discomforting. And my son's father was in the room for all of these. He was at every single doctor's appointment. So he's there with me through this whole entire process. He never missed a doctor's appointment from the time we decided to keep him. So she checked my cervix and it hurt. And I'm 9 months pregnant, by the way. Like I said, I was like 33, 34 weeks. And I asked her after she checked my cervix and it kind of hurt. And I was like, she was like, well, he's ready. He's of the weight that he's supposed to be. He's healthy. You're fully ready. But your water just hasn't broke yet. So I was like, well, can we just induce me? I was so tired of being pregnant, child. Whew, I was so tired of being pregnant. But I was just big. He's ready. I'm like, well, let's just, get it going. Like, come on. And honestly, I was ready to meet my son. I'm like, I just want to see my baby. Like, just bring him out. So, and she said no. And she was like, it's usually better to just wait naturally for your water to break. If it doesn't break after you hit, I think she said 36 weeks, then we'll induce you. I said, okay. I went home, whatever. And later on that day, I was bleeding. I was like spotting. And I called my doctor, which is the doctor that's on fucking vacation. But anyway, I called her and I'm telling her, like, yo, I'm bleeding, I'm spotting. I remember I had called my mom and I'm like, yeah, I'm spotting. I made it aware, not a huge deal, but I was kind of like, yeah, like I hadn't bled through my whole pregnancy. Like, that's not a normal thing. And I told them, and my doctor, I was supposed to come the next day for my next weekly appointment. So it was kind of like, okay, well, we both agreed, like, all right, well, you coming in here tomorrow, we'll check it out. And when I went in there the next day for my weekly checkup, that's when there was no heartbeat. And it was like, I kind of felt weird the day before. Like, I felt like, I don't know, I was just like, I was spying. I was just like, what the hell? And I made sure I reached out, but they made it seem like it was no big deal. And I don't know if, well, once I went, at the end of the day, I don't really want to go through the details of me realizing that my son was gone and all of this, but at the end of the day, when I went to the doctor, they couldn't find a heartbeat. It still didn't register to me. Like, I was like, oh, maybe something's wrong with the machine, and then they kept running, they kept doing a sonogram, and I see my son, he's floating, but I don't hear no heartbeat. I don't see I was feeling stuff in my stomach, so that's why I'm like, no. And so a couple hours after that, when they finally revealed to me that my son was gone, and I'm carrying him, 9 months pregnant, big as shit, in the hospital, and they revealed to me that he's gone. And I'm telling them like, no, I've been feeling him kicking, and they like, oh well, you know, your stomach was contracting. So for my delivery, all of my contractions were in my stomach. Like some women, they get it in their back or their lower back or stomach or their pelvis or both, or I don't know, but mine were just all here. So I was like, no, I've been feeling him kicking and moving in my stomach. They said, no, your stomach has been contracting. So I guess whenever within that week from the last time I had went to the doctor and heard my son's heartbeat beating fast, all that, somewhere within that week, I have no idea when he passed. I don't know when, why, how. I that still haunts me because it messes with me up here as a mom, as a mother, and I'm carrying my child that I didn't even realize that he was gone. I'm carrying him. So naturally, of course, I'm looking at myself like, well, did I do something wrong? Like, and I'm going back and I'm thinking, I'm like, what did I do? Like, I was already on bed rest. I wasn't working, so I'm just like, what happened? So I don't know. I honestly don't know, and I know there's a lot more other women, too many other women and fathers out there with this same damn story. This same story. They don't know. Just literally, there's so many, and unfortunately, yes, once I had went through the experience and my son was still born, yeah, it made me start looking it up and looking at, and there's so many other stories. I'm talking about going back to like 1800s, like where this just happens. But it's so weird. Like where they used to take pictures of they took pictures of my son. I don't want that CD. But they used to take pictures of the babies that died, or you've seen pictures of like babies that have died, or and it's just so like what? Like what? So there was absolutely no explanation at all. All I was told was that he had already been gone for like a day or two, so he was starting, which still bugs me out because I'm like, how am I carrying my child and I don't realize that they're dead? Like that still fucks with me, but but it's okay. This is why we talk about this. So it was like instantly, as soon as I was told that my son passed away, I had to be prepped for delivery because he had already, this is what I'm being told, that he had already started to decompose inside of me. So it was turning into, I could start to be affected by it. And because if I have a human, he's decomposing inside of me, like it was just like we got to hurry up and get him out. So right after hearing that my child is gone, I have to go straight into, oh shit, I have to deliver him. I was terrified, like instantly, like now I have to deliver him. And I begged. This is another thing that kind of threw me off, but I feel like looking back, I'm kind of glad that I didn't. But I was begging these people to give me a C-section because I'm like, okay, if my son is gone and you telling me he's decomposing now and I'm pregnant as hell, just do it the quickest way possible. You get what I'm saying? So I just wanted this to be over with. Like I cannot believe that I've been carrying this child and you telling me now my child's gone and now I have to deliver him, and if I don't deliver him soon I could possibly die because now he's decomposing inside of me. Like that was a lot to take in that quick. And I'm like, just give me a C-section. And one of the nurses told me, she said, you do not want to be cut open, just push him out. But my thing is, like, if he's already gone, why would y'all put, I just didn't understand why that would be put on me. Like, so I have to push him out. And I pushed my son out for 3 days. I'm lying. I pushed him out. I'm not lying because I'm not a liar, but I stand corrected. I pushed for 2 days. I was in the hospital for 3 days. I pushed him for 2 days, and I only got him to, I want to say, under his buttocks. This is a deep conversation, y'all. I told y'all I was gonna get deep. But yeah, I pushed his head. His head popped out quick. Whatever, pushed him out. This is my deceased son. His father was there for the whole thing, witnessed the whole thing. And I never got to see my son as in his natural state. When it got to the end of the pushing, I got him past his butt, and I couldn't do no more. I tapped out. I tapped out. I blacked out. Like I blacked out for a period during delivery, and I just remember them having to go to extreme methods to get him out because I literally could not push no more. And I was even saying to the doctor during delivery, like, I can't, I don't have it no more. Like, I had been pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. I'm just like, yo, I can't do it no more. And that's when they got the tongs, and they literally trying to yank my deceased son out of me. At this point, it's not even about don't hurt the baby, because he's gone, unfortunately. So they started dealing with it. And they got the vacuum. They was trying to vacuum him out. He didn't want to come out. He was stuck. He was hanging out of me for quite some time. He was stuck until one of the nurses, she jumped up on the bed and she pushed. And I'm being so real with y'all right now. She pushed, like, literally. When I tell y'all, I screamed to the top of my lungs. It hurt so bad. I'll never forget that it hurt so damn bad. But when she did, he popped right out. It had to be done. It had to be done. And when she did that and jumped up on there, when she did that, I swung on her ass. That's a little story from the delivery room. I swung on her and she fucking fell off the side of the bed, but my son popped out. So, and that's a big part of, like, the trauma. I've had a lot of trauma done to my stomach. But that's for another video, another day, when we start talking about working out, exercising, whatever the case may be. But yeah, so that was very traumatic. So, and that was my first pregnancy. Since then, I'm going to explain to you why all this bullshit going on out here hits home so much for me, because after going through that experience, I was terrified to have another baby. Terrified. And I kind of still, I wouldn't say I'm terrified, but I'm a little nervous. And now it's really at the point where I'm ready. It just would have to be with the right person and come out of love. Just off my first experience, it has to completely be a peaceful transition and out of love. It just has to be. But after that, I had my son in 2014. I got pregnant again in 2017. So years later. And it was by someone that I had kind of just met. And he and I'm being very transparent. I don't give a fuck who get in here and come with their little ignorant judgments. I don't care. I'm being very transparent because this is for other women who have been through what I've been through. This is a discussion, okay? So yes, I had got pregnant, and it was with someone that I had kind of just started dating. But he wanted to have the child, and I felt like I'm not gonna have a child with someone that I barely even know yet. And he was already starting to show some weird colorings, some true colors. And two, I was scared to have another baby. I was scared to go through birth. I was terrified from my first experience. Psychologically, that shit is scary. And by the grace of God, I thank God that Unfortunately, even though I lost my son, I thank God that I'm still here. There's a lot of women who lose their lives giving birth, or who have been in worse situations than that, or who have carried twins and one baby comes and one baby doesn't. Stillbirths, that I just really, really, really want to start paying more attention to that stillbirths, and not just women, the men too, because a lot of times that can affect the men more than it affects the woman. So you guys are going to see me talking a lot more about that. um, you're going to see a lot more come of that, and I'm here for anyone else who wants to share their experience or share that story with me. um, as far as losing a child, even miscarriages, we're not gonna completely dismiss them. There's a lot of women out here who suffer miscarriages repeatedly, or can have a miscarriage just because the environment that you're in has stressed you out so bad that it has affected the child that you're carrying. There's just so many different predicaments, and I just feel like if we really gonna do this Supreme Court, let's really do it. Let's talk about it. Hold these men more accountable. I'm sorry, honey. I said it. But those are my experiences. I definitely um, plan to have more children. I'm not rushing it. I'm not rushing it. I feel like when it comes, it comes, you know. Life is supposed to happen naturally. I am not in a rush. But before I leave this earth, I'm definitely going to leave a little Brittany. Um, I want another boy, another girl too. And a lot of happiness has came in my life since going through that experience. That was a long time ago. You know, I had my son when I was 22, 22, 23. I am 30, which ain't that old, but it feels like something to me. But that's about it. I want you guys to please like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Monet's Gourmet. Hit me up, talk to me about anything that I discuss. Look in the future, very near future, I am definitely going to start a nonprofit organization for stillbirth awareness, and it's going to touch on miscarriages as well. Would never leave that out. But not just for women, but also these men who have dealt with these losses with women. Those men that have been there and have been wanting their children and have been involved in the whole emotional process. Sometimes that could take a toll on them as well. So a lot of things coming in the future. I'll never stop praising. I try to put my finger right under it. I'll never stop praising my baby. That's my baby, if y'all can see. Okay, I loved my son. I wanted my son. I love him to the death of me. I almost feel like I birthed an angel. And I have dealt recently with a lot of disgusting things said about my child, and his death, which is so unfortunate because my son is ringing bells and his name is holding weights down here, and he never even got to breathe any breath on this earth. He died inside of me, so all he knew was me. And it's just really unfortunate that some people are that disgusting in this world to talk about dead children. It's disgusting. So I want to say blessings, healing. Get it out, talk about it, talk what you need to talk about. I know that this bullshit going on right now in this world has hit home and has touched a lot of people, and we gonna be all right. So thank you guys. Subscribe. Thank you for letting me share my story, and we're gonna talk about it more and more, as well as food. So be blessed.